Hello and welcome to Sovereign RPG. I'm Sovereign and today we're back in Infinite Lagrange. And they've made changes recently that are just mind-bogglingly confusing. Like, I have no idea why they've made these changes. It went from a nice little niche sort of war game into a generic piece of shit mobile game in the space of like 2 weeks. There's been some changes that have happened recently in the game with the blockade system. Before, you could actually just go in and you could split up large forces as a smaller defense fleet and you could go and do exactly what you needed to do, and there was a lot of strategic elements to it. And now they've changed the blockade into a dueling system, which is a 1v1, which requires so much more micromanagement. And I don't know if any of you guys are actually leading unions. Trying to micromanage 100 players that AFK in a mobile game 99% of the time is a fucking shit show. Even if you have 40 players that are listening to you all the time, they're in comms, they're understanding what you're saying, and you're going to be doing what you're doing, and you're running around, and everyone's doing everything you want them to do, it's still difficult to know which fleets have which ships, which fleets have what HP all the time, which fleets have the most amount of tank, and blah, blah, blah. You're going to have to memorize everything that everyone has if you're going to be leading the sort of strategic elements of fighting in the blockades right now. It's just, I have no idea why they decided to do it this way, and it just confuses me. Like, I'm getting feelings of Eve Echoes again in this new game that I was really enjoying before. I spent a lot of time in there, even though there wasn't even much to do. I spent a lot of time in there. I was talking to people, we're getting stuff done. I've slowly started to pull back a little bit. Got a lot of real life stuff going on. I apologize for the background. There's no green screen at the moment because my brand new puppy, Tokyo, decided to chew it to shit and ripped it off the side of the back. So that's not there anymore. So you get a nice view of my work computer and the hallway and me sound sheet over here to try and stop some of the echoing bouncing off. It's probably still there, but there's not much I can do about it right now. There's been a few other changes recently that's kind of like, I feel like they stealth nerfed the shit out of BPs. I haven't had a new ship or a ship at all, like other than generic bullshit ships, for weeks. Like, since the first week when they were doing some of the stuff, I got quite a lot of ships that first week and then I got nothing. Like, I haven't had a single ship BP out of a black market crate in weeks. Even when I get the 15-point boxes, it just does nothing. I get nothing out of it. I get generic shit ships and I'm not progressing in the game anymore, and it's just, I've hit a standstill. I've built everything inside of the station. There's nothing else in the base to build. I've hit a plateau there. The fighting has become completely lackluster and boring because there's no strategic element of being able to fuck up a big alliance of players by splitting them up and dragging them off in different directions using spiderweb blockades and blah, blah, blah. Now, you can still do it, but you can pull one at a time. And once you're actually inside of that 1v1 fleet, and it just takes a person to just stick a couple of tank fleets in your spiderweb of blockades, and then they just pass through you. So there's no actual blockade. You're literally just blockading one ship, and it just makes no fucking sense to me. They were doing so well, and they did such a great job at the start. There's still no pay to win, not really, not if you think about it. Even with me getting black market crates every day, I'm still not getting any of these ships anymore. They've completely nerfed it, and I'm pretty sure they've completely fucking nerfed it. So I don't know what they're going to be doing going forward. They need to fix the path, and they need to decide what they want to do. They need to get rid of collision, or they want to keep collision, but they need to make the collision smaller so you can actually get around stuff. You don't get stuck in bundles anymore. They need to decide what they want to do with the pathing. The pathing is a really big thing in the game that is causing a lot of issues for a lot of players and causing players to leave, because obviously pathing's not that big of a deal to deal with when you're developing a game. From what I've been speaking to various other developers about this issue, because it's taking so long for them to do it. I don't know why they're doing it. So I've been speaking to a few of my dev friends. They said the pathing is not that difficult to deal with. There's many options that they could go with that will make the pathing so much better. But there could be something in the actual back-end systems that is stopping them from being able to do some of the ways that they could actually fix it, by making the hitboxes smaller so you can get around stuff, by making your friendlies be able to fly through your friendlies, for example, but not be able to fly through enemies, is another one that could be done in a way that is actually being able to make the game better. But all we're really getting in the patch notes is nerfs to everything, nerfs to ships, nerfs to times, nerfs to building times. This game was in beta for a long time beforehand. There's been many open betas. A lot of this stuff should have been found out and noticed before they even decided to release the game in the EU. Now, I didn't want to bitch about the game. I've been bitching about too many games recently because everything is just feeling like they're all going in the same fucking direction. We give developers a list of shit that we want. We want this shit. We want this in the game. We want that in the game. We want to do this in the game. And we give them a full list, like bullet pointed. This is what we want as gamers in our games. And literally no fucking person is listening to it. None. Not a single goddamn fucking developer. Everything is just remakes of old shit. And when something new comes along, it starts off really well. And everyone's like, oh, fucking hell, we got something new. This is amazing. This is great. And then all of a sudden, bam, it just goes to the generic bullshit after a couple of patch updates. And I just don't understand it. Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand what is happening in the gaming genre right now. People are remaking old games. They're remastering old games. They're not making anything new. Genres aren't getting any new features and any new additions. Everything's just bog standard bullshit. Everyone's playing it safe. I just wish there was a development team that will come in and just say, you know what, fuck all of you. Fuck the generic bullshit. Let's make something different. Let's take the risk. The funny thing is, if a development team decided to do this, they'll probably make fuck tons of money because everyone's going to be like, oh my god, there's something new and shiny about, rather than making a little bit of money at the beginning and then everyone leaving your game after a month. Like, I just don't understand it. This game hasn't even got this game hasn't even got massive microtransactions, yet it's still just going in a generic direction. And I don't know, there's just not enough content in there. I'm sure if there was way more content in the base building and all that stuff, they would have the microtransactions. I reckon they just didn't have the microtransactions yet because there's nothing to fucking build. It took us 2 weeks to get to zone 9 and max all the buildings. Like, it just didn't take any time at all. Another thing they did that was screwing shit up was getting into the XP and making your ships maximum XP at 30 from fighting other fleets and other ships and blah blah blah. Why did you do that? What was the point in that? There was literally 0 point in doing that. Now, the activity score, the main factor we use in deciding whether someone in the union is active or not, is the activity, because the prosperity means fuck all. Like, it just doesn't mean anything to have a high prosperity because everyone's got their bases full now. It just matters how many outposts and shit you got, how many mining, blah blah blah, and it's just no indicator of if someone's still active in the game or not. Now the activity numbers are dropping because no one needs to farm XP anymore. No one needs to kill pirate fleets. No one needs to kill city fleets. No one needs to farm anything anymore. And it's just, there's no in-between gameplay anymore. All of my ships that I use, all of them, and I've got max 1050 military command points. I've got max points, and I've got all the ships that I can build. Every single one of those ships are 40 plus. Most of them are 50 already, because I obviously farmed the XP when we were able to. And it's been that long since I've got a new ship to level up that I haven't needed to do anything. So my activity points are going down the drain. So when I'm saying, all right, we're going to be clearing out the union this week, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be 0 activity or 100 activity or 500 activity, and they're the same boat as me. Eventually, I'm going to be below that 500 activity number, and it's just going to, and I'm going to be kicking people for having the same number as me, and it's just, there's no way to indicate anymore if people are still playing the game. So anyway, I just had to get that little bit of shit out off my chest. Like, the game is just going in a direction that I don't like. Let me know down below if you do agree with what I'm saying, or if you think it's going in a good direction or a bad direction, or whatever you feel, whatever your thoughts are on the game right now, let me know down below. I just had to have a moan. It's been a little while, and Eve Echoes has given me nothing to moan about because nothing's fucking coming out, so like and subscribe if you haven't already. Fly safe and avoid local chat scams. I want to say a huge thank you to all my patrons. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to continue doing what I'm doing. If you'd like to find out how to become a patron and how to get early access to my content, please look down in the description. Fly safe and avoid local chat scams.